Today we're going to talk about 8 ways that you can create a home that feels peaceful and calm and clutter-free at least most of the time, and how to keep it that way. So a little bit about my backstory and how I got here. I have a daughter who's 6 years old and a husband, and about 4 or 5 years ago, I decided that I literally couldn't take my overly cluttered house anymore, and I started searching for ways to get out of it, whether it was to just up and sell my whole house and start all over. I had fantasies of this house just disappearing and what I would feel like to just not have to deal with it anymore. So instead of those things actually happening, what I did, I saw a film on Netflix by the Minimalist, and it showed me a different way of living my life, a way where I could have the things that I really love and need, but wouldn't need all of the excess. And so that was my goal. And I knew that I was so extremely unhappy that I was ready to get started right at that moment. And I think knowing your why do you feel like it's finally time to change, is gonna keep you going throughout the years of your decluttering. All right, so the first thing that I want you to do is, if your house feels overwhelmed, I want you to find a box or a container that you can use as a clutter catcher. So whether you're going to just have one, like I do near my front door, or whether you're gonna put one on every floor of your house, totally up to you. But what this clutter catcher is going to do is it's going to make you aware of the things that are either out of place. You can put them in that box, and it can be a place where when you have the time, you can then go ahead, take those things out and put them back where they belong. And or it can be a place that you also put clutter. As you are going throughout your day, I always suggest that you should be decluttering along the way. Every once in a while, when I walk into the kitchen, I find things that I either just don't like anymore, don't use anymore, haven't seen in a while, are covered in dust, and I will take those things out and put them in our clutter catcher, our box down here, that we put things that we want to get rid of, but we don't necessarily have time to run them to the Goodwill yet. Clutter catchers can also just be things where maybe you have a place where you have a lot of wires, putting a box there so that all of those wires are contained in one area and hidden is gonna make the space feel a lot more open and a lot more inviting. Having hampers and baskets where you leave your dirty clothes, making sure that those dirty clothes aren't landing on the floor, but they have a place to go. Look around your house and find the places where your clutter is just sitting around or gathering, and see if you can put it in a box and have a space for it. Even if you can't do with that clutter right away, it will have a home and feel a lot better in that space. This next thing is definitely a personal taste kind of thing, but for me in my house, I feel like it really helped. So if you have a lot of fake artificial plants, so this is definitely a personal choice thing, but it's something that I did myself, and that is I got rid of all of my artificial plants. Now, before you freak out, here's why. I am not somebody who naturally has a green thumb. I love to dabble in gardening outside. I can show you my garden one day if you're interested. But I love plants and planting. But in my house, my plants always died. Always died. And so I bought a bunch of fake plants because I thought in my head, oh, I won't have to worry about them. I won't have to deal with them. They'll just be up there as decor and they're gonna add some flair into my house. What I realized was that they were really a place where a lot of dust gathered, and most of those artificial plants that we have are kind of hard to clean. Though it was a thing that I thought was going to be able to alleviate a lot of my stress, it didn't. It actually did the opposite, and I felt like I was always having to clean these daggone plants. Even though I didn't have to water them all the time, I always had to clean them. So what I did was I slowly started bringing in live plants. And there are lots of plants that you can bring in that are low maintenance. So think about ivies, think about those house plants you can see at Lowe's, like the Swiss cheese plants. These are plants that you can forget to water for a week or two, and they're gonna be totally fine. The other nice thing about live plants is that I feel like it really slowed down my consumption because I knew I could only take care of so many. So instead of artificial plants that I could just throw up everywhere, I knew that live plants needed light, they needed space, they needed somebody to take care of them. And so it made me more aware of not overbuying plants because I was going to have to take care of them. So you can let me know how you feel about that one. I know we're all a little bit different And if you're somebody who travels all the time, it might not work for you. But number 8 is definitely my favorite, so hang on to the end. But number 3 is also amazing, and that is that when you are going out shopping, I want you to create a vision in your mind of where these things are going to go. So I know it was such a hard concept for me when I first started. I heard this from other minimalists, and I was like, how do I even do that? How can you picture where something is gonna go in your head when you're out there at the store and I don't have the physical picture of my house? So what I realized was, one, it was because my house was so cluttered and I was constantly moving things around that I didn't have a clear picture of what my house looked like. But also, because it was so cluttered, it's kind of like that game that you've heard of where people will show you like 7 different items. They want you to memorize the order of them, and then they'll hide the cards and you have to relay back the information. Our brain can only handle so much information in our head. So when our house is super cluttered, it's hard to make that picture. But I digress. This is going to help you become more intentional about buying things, because if you are at the store and you cannot make a clear picture of the wall that this artwork is going to go on, or the shelf that that vase is going to sit on, and how you're going to take care of it, then I wouldn't buy it. And on top of that, how are you going to take care of it? Like I talked about with the fake artificial plants, they were a lot for me to have to take care of because I did not think about where these things were gonna go. So I just bought a ton when I found them on sale and just threw them around my house, not realizing that these were things that I had to take care of. Even though you might see something in the store and you think, oh, I just love this, I've gotta have it. If you can't picture where it goes, it's gonna be clutter. And that leads to number 4. And that is, and let me know if you are someone like this too, but I was someone who moved my things around constantly. I was somebody who constantly had to redo the configuration of every room, whether it was moving the bed or the side tables or trying the couch upstairs and then downstairs. And it was completely and utterly exhausting. And while I do like to change things up still occasionally, what I will say is when you take out a ton of the excess furniture and a ton of the excess decor, you realize what you really like, and then you don't have to move things around all the time. You don't have to change out your decor all the time. If you are somebody like I was, hand up, I moved clutter, I've moved my excess around all of the time and never felt completely satisfied with how a room looked, then that is a red flag that you just have too much in that room, and that a lot of those things can probably go. So my rule is that I don't move things around more than once or twice. If I'm seeing myself moving a piece of furniture or decor around a lot, more than twice, given a span of maybe like 6 months, I know it's clutter and I know it can go. If you want to live in a community that is all about minimalism, decluttering, and living a peaceful, simpler life, then go ahead and join this community by subscribing, and you will get notified of all the new videos that are coming out. If you are decluttering with us, or if you are living a minimalist lifestyle here on Minimalist, then throw a heart emoji down below and let us know that we are all in this together. So the research I did on hushing the room, which what I do a little bit differently is that instead of hushing the room for 24 hours and leaving it, what I do is I hush the room for at least a week. And here's why. Why I do it for a week is I feel like it takes that amount of time for my brain to really register whether this is a good thing, I'm enjoying living without things, or it's a bad. And that might just be because my brain's a little bit slower, I don't know. But 24 hours just seems like it's not enough time. I haven't had enough time to really decide what I want to bring back. If you are busy like I am, and often I am not spending my entire day in the house figuring out what I want to do with this space. And so when I would only give myself 24 hours, it felt too rushed and I would end up just bringing everything back in. What I suggest is to do it for a week. Put those things, those decor pieces, in another room, out of sight, out of mind, but then give yourself a week to really sit in the room, be a part of the room, sit in that space for a little bit longer, and slowly bring back after that week the things that you really did miss. Number 6 is to find lightness in your furniture. So the big thing that I have been slowly changing throughout my house, and it is not perfect, but when we got a new couch, the one I have behind me now, I wanted it to, one, be light, something that I could move myself, and also be higher up off of the ground. There are many reasons for this. I wanted something that was going to be easy for me to clean under. And so our vacuum, our Roomba, can go right under it without me having to lift the furniture to clean under it. And also, I picked this fabric in particular because it is very easy for me to clean with just a little bit of soap and water. And I feel like living with furniture that has a lightness to it gives an ease to the room. When it's higher off the ground, you can see the floor space that you have. Creating lightness in a room is going to make it feel automatically more peaceful and more welcoming to you. One of the biggest changes in my life that minimalism has brought me is creating a bedroom space that is extremely minimal, and in turn, it has allowed me to have much easier, better, longer sleep. So there are many sleep studies on this exact subject, but what I have found between research and just doing my own studies on myself and how I sleep is that having a TV in my room, automatically, I'm not able to shut down as quickly. Having any kind of pictures in my room actually gets my brain going. Now, my mom likes to have only animal pictures in her room. She says it brings her a lot of calm, and I love that. I think finding the right kind of decor for your bedroom could really help you, but for me, I very much just like to have my plant in the corner, and we have a mirror my husband made, and that's it. I don't add any other decor, and really that's because my brain is so scatterbrained most of the time that when I'm ready to go to sleep, I don't want anything else distracting me. So in your bedroom, I want you to do some of your own research on yourself, and I want you to figure out if you were to take down between 50 and 80% of the decor in the bedroom, is it actually helping you sleep better? On top of that, in my bedroom, I don't have any excess pillows or things on my bed that I don't sleep on, because in the morning, I want to make my bed. I like having a made bed in the morning, which never really mattered to me until I read some studies about making your bed gets you more motivated just to start your day. And it does. It helps me to get my day started by making my bed. But that doesn't mean I need to make it difficult. That doesn't mean that I need to add extra things to make that bed routine harder. So if you're getting frustrated, maybe you or your husband or your family can't seem to make their bed and make it look nice, then maybe just simplifying it will make that whole process a lot easier. And number 8, like I said, is my favorite, and that is really coming to terms with something that I had to myself, and that is, are you just recluttering your space? Do you keep sending out bags of goodwill or bags of things that you're selling into the trash, and then you feel like you come back in your home a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, and it feels crowded again, like you have to go declutter all over again? It might just be because you are recluttering too fast. Now I know we all bring things back into our homes. I buy things. It's not like I live without anything. But what I realized is that a lot of times I would be sending things out, and then my husband would say, you're just rebuying them. Just stop rebuying things and just keep what you have if you're just gonna buy it again. And that was a wake-up call to me, because it was true. I was just rebuying things that were very similar, maybe a different color, maybe a different shape, but so similar that it was just like I was recluttering the space. Another thing I had to do was to learn to say no to things. When my amazing family wants to give me things for my daughter or hand-me-down things for me, I have to realize that either that person I can say no to now and I'm comfortable with that, and I can take the things that I really need, and I feel comfortable enough telling them that I appreciate what they're giving me, but I don't actually need that, and here's why, and I bet you can find someone great that needs it more than I do, and they feel comfortable with that. Or I have to feel comfortable, if you have family members that are not gonna be able to handle that, and you don't feel comfortable talking to them about it, then you need to know that you're not going to take it back out of your car. You're just gonna send it right to Goodwill. And I've had to do that a couple of times too. I think we have to be able to read the people around us and know where their heart is. A lot of times people are giving you things because they love you, out of selflessness and out of kindness. And it's not that I wanna hurt their feelings, but I either say no or I send it right to Goodwill if I cannot use it. I used to really be afraid that people were going to come to me and be like, what are you doing with this? Or what are you doing with that? And I have had a few situations like that. But whenever I've explained to them that I found a different home that is a better home, or I found a place that I felt like somebody else could use it more than I could, I've never had any backlash. And I know that's not everyone's family, not everyone's friends, but that was been my experience. And I've had to be able to feel comfortable having uncomfortable conversations like that if I wanted to maintain a minimal home. All right, friends, so those are our 8 things. I would love to know your opinions, maybe something that has helped you as well to maintain a calm and peaceful home, and if any of these resonated with you. But like I said, if you want to join a community that is supportive and builds each other up and wants to live a more minimal, simple life, then please subscribe to this channel for more videos to come, and I will see you guys again very soon.